Hello everyone and welcome to Tailored Acres. I'm Taylor and I am a gardener in Wisconsin Zone 4B and my passion is cut flowers. So Lisianthus, my first year starting them from seed was last year and I made a pretty comprehensive video about that if you want to check that out. But this is what I've learned from doing that first year. So I had a really good plan for germination, and I think I had about 100% germination, which is really encouraging. So that process I would not change. Some of the keys in there were having the heat pad on, the humidity dome, and keeping them very moist. So all of that went well. After I got germination, I removed the humidity dome, and that's where things started to go south for me. So my house is very dry living in Wisconsin. Obviously, we're running the furnace. We do have an April air, but that only adds so much humidity. And we're up here in the upstairs, so that probably doesn't even get all the way up here. I don't know how that works. But anyway, it's dry and it is a cooler room as well. So that may have to do with how slow that they grew. So going back to watering, what I'm going to do this year is I'm actually going to try keeping that humidity dome on as long as I can, because it's going to keep them more humid, because the roots are so small and so shallow, and those tiny plants just like cannot survive any drying out when they're that little. So I'm going to be keeping the humidity dome on a lot longer this year after I get germination. So that's the first change that I'm going to make. So, as you may know, we are in December here, and this is the second change that I'm going to make, and that's I'm going to start a whole month earlier this year. Last year, my seedlings were absolutely tiny when they got planted out. They actually did fine in the ground, and I got many blooms out of the ones that did grow, or that were planted out there. So that was positive, but having bigger plants, I think, will be a better survival and producing earlier as well. The third change that I'm going to make this year is when I am planting my Lisianthus, I am going to get the soil all set, and then I'm going to mist it all in before I put my pelleted seed on top. So although I did get germination, I think that some of them didn't do as well because they got buried a little bit when I misted it after I put the pelleted seed on top. So misting it first to make that soil settle, I think is going to be helpful. So the other change that I'm going to make this year is that I am going to check them morning and night for needing water, especially after that humidity dome comes off, because once they don't have enough water, there's like no coming back. They dry out so fast and the plants just do not recover from that well. So that is definitely a challenge in babysitting them that much for like 6 months, which is just crazy. So yes, this is a labor of love for sure. So next I'm going to go over some of the details about growing Lisianthus and my plans for this year. So the first is my seeds this year I got from Monarch Gardens, and they supply seeds in very small quantities. So I got this little pack from them. It came in a little vial and it's pelletized seed. I got the Arena 3 apricot, which is one of my favorites. It's very rose-like and smooth. Johnny's also has a huge variety of Lisianthus, and that's where I got mine from last year, and that worked out really well too. So when you're buying seed, it may be important for you to look at what grow group they're in and also the form they come in. There's quite a few different forms that they come in. So it's like they might be small, they might be ruffly, they might be smooth, and then there's different grow groups and as to what time they bloom throughout the year. It's also important to note that the seed comes as pelletized. So that means that there's a coating on the seed, which usually impacts its shelf life. So if you buy Lisianthus seed, you're going to want to grow it that season. So the next thing to go over is when to start these seeds. So like I said before, I'm in Wisconsin Zone 4. So my yeah, last frost date is about May 15th, I think, officially. Usually I don't plant anything out that's frost susceptible until June because we usually have that one last frost. But Lisianthus are cool flowers, so they can withstand some cooler temperatures. So I had to look it up quick because I couldn't remember. So this is an awesome book. I would highly recommend buying this book. It is a great reference for all things, both cool flowers and warm flowers, and temperatures that they're hardy to. So in here, it says that the winter low temperature survival is 0 degrees. So I am planning to go about 4 to 6 weeks before our last frost to plant my Lisianthus out. And I did it last year and it felt super wrong, but they thrived in those cooler temperatures. So there's quite a few flowers that you can plant this way. And this book is a great resource. So it's the Cut Flower Handbook by Lisa Mason Ziegler, and I'll put a link down below. I got mine from Amazon, and it's just a wealth of knowledge. It's probably the only cut flower book you would ever need. There's so many great details in it, but she is from a warmer zone, so just take note on that. Our stuff is a little bit different up here in the north. So again, I'm planning on like mid to early April to, sorry, the cat's hitting the stand, to plant these out. And then starting them inside, I am going 5 months before I'm going to plant them out. Last year, I did 4 months before to plant them out, and they were just tiny. So I'm hoping that this will give them more time to grow, and also having them more protected with moisture will help them grow as well. So I'll report back next year on my success with that. So the next important details for me this year is the soil I'm going to use is Pro Mix, which I used last year, just the regular Pro Mix, but this year I have the moisture retention type. So I'm hoping that will help a little bit more keeping the Lisianthus moist. But this is the tray I'm going to grow them in this year, and they don't need a whole lot of space. They don't really get very big. So, and I only have 17, so I'm just going to need a few of these. But one important detail is that I really like these low side ones because it's easy to get water down in there to water them through bottom watering. And then my humidity dome just fits under this, and then this will go on the heat mat. So again, as I said earlier, I'm going to get my soil in here, I'm going to wet it, and then I'm going to put the seeds in, and then I'm going to mist it again because then the soil will be settled and the seed will still be on top. Also, again, germination is not the hard part. And it was false advertising, things that I saw last year with that. I thought germination was probably the easiest part of Lisianthus growing. So to keep them well watered and alive for 4 or 5 months is a difficult task. I mean, they need consistent, constant care to be successful. So it is a labor of love, but the flowers are absolutely gorgeous and totally worth it. So that's it for this video. Good luck with your Lisianthus this year. And if you have any tips or tricks to share with us, please share in the comments. They're always appreciated. Take care.